All right.
Welcome back, Cosmos.
Welcome back, Mr. Lowe, to another day at the office. This is case file 4 for CRS, and look at that, I got the name of the channel right this time.
We are almost done with our audit of Mr. Broken Ronin. The last one is we have my pick, which is gonna be the video today. Then we will have your video, which will be the next one that we will next case file that we'll jump onto.
And then we'll wrap up and give our general thoughts on Broken Ronin and if he deserves his station. We'll talk about, and I think a lot of people are gonna need to be reminded. We're not just talking about his argumentation, although that is a big section of it when you're a commentary channel. We're gonna be talking about the edits and the jokes and the writing and all that, the audio leveling. So we're gonna see as a whole. We've watched 5 different videos, 2 at random, one being the first one he made, one being the most recent, one being the most popular, and I think that's a fair general look at their channel from an outside perspective, and we'll give our judgment. And hey, you know what? If you like Broken Ronin, don't let our opinion sway you. I'll probably still watch it, a casual video from him if it pops up in my recommended. It seems that I have, and I don't even remember it, which is not a good indication of his quality if I can not realize I watched a video of his, because I'll be honest, he's a like most anime YouTubers who cover certain topics, they can be hodgepodged and thrown together, and I'm trying to dance around the fact of calling him generic or calling him just a one of many, because that sounds too
Well,
mean, but
the main problem with that is his video where it had him and no operator. I could
you
not
couldn't
tell
tell. Yeah.
I couldn't tell who was talking when.
Yeah, and we'll end up coming back to some anime YouTubers, and we'll start noticing how prevalent their style almost is. Like, it's almost just the style of anime commentary. But
Yeah, that's nothing against him. There's not a whole lot you can really help whenever you're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and a bunch of stuff and stuff like that. Like,
well,
I will say your Percy Jackson video did stand out a lot more.
yeah, in the wrong ways.
Well, I mean, aside from the Mount St. Helens meme, I still feel like it was a pretty good departure from what he had been doing. And it felt really refreshing compared to the Yuta video where we
I,
just get to see him dog walk the disaster
Well,
curses.
I'm going to push back against you a little bit, and I'm going to push back on 2 different things, so get ready. So, the first one is that you seem to almost say it's almost unavoidable if you're talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, you almost have to fall into that format, which obviously we don't agree with. We could find a YouTube channel that talks about Jujutsu Kaisen in a very in-depth and informative and unique way with, good edits and good jokes and are accurate. And we would commend them for that. So I don't think you have to fall into a certain and I don't know if that's what you meant, but um, as for the second point, which I'm trying to remember because I'm running my thoughts together, but I mean, if we actually look at the structure of the Percy Jackson video and the Yuta video, I mean, I think they're in the same series, or is almost is, where Percy Jackson almost no diffs the entire Jujutsu Kaisen universe, and then the other videos Yuta no diffs the disaster curses. I mean, they're both scaling videos, so
I mean,
does it just stick out because it's a different genre or different character?
well, it's from a different like source of medium. Like going from the book character to the anime medium makes it a lot more interesting.
Hmm.
As well as I feel like it's a little bit different whenever like you're taking Percy Jackson whenever he's arguably going to be his strongest versus everyone at their strongest, rather than the capped out disaster curses at the Shibuya incident versus manga Yuda.
In fairness, though, they are both capped out, quote unquote. Like, that is the strongest the disaster curse has ever got versus the strongest Yuta is at the moment. I do know what you mean, but it's 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 a little bit awkward to say that, like, the disaster curses aren't capped out when, I mean, that's as strong as they get. We did have that criticism last night of, well, yeah, of course Yuta's going to beat them, but that's just mainly talking about when you're in your own story. It would be strange to have one of the strongest in your universe not be able to deal with threats from 4 arcs ago. That would just be weird progression.
Well, yeah, my main point is just that it was boring.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was certainly more entertained with the Percy Jackson video, but I think that was just because I am super personally invested into both of those universes, and
Yeah, neither of us are invested in Yuta. That's true.
yeah, and I just don't give a fuck about Yuta, and this is gonna carry over not in a negative way, but I think I've seen one episode of Chainsaw Man with you, and I liked it. We just for some reason didn't keep watching it. Um, I'm fine with the design, and Denji's a character that I like for the most part. He is down bad for both pussy and money, a poor guy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess the videos got me interested, but the thumbnail, which we can't have on here because Watch Together is lame, but the title is just a picture of Denji's face, or the thumbnail is just a picture of Denji's face with "he's horny," and then obviously you can see the title here is Denji: How Fujimoto Struck Gold. So
Now, the first thing I'm gonna say whenever it comes to this is I read and was very into Fire Punch
okay,
before, which was like the main work that Fujimoto was known for before he made Chainsaw Man. Like this was his more sleeper pick before he took time to be able to craft Chainsaw Man, which Chainsaw Man is an amazing piece of media. I absolutely fell in love with it. I don't really like the anime that much because the animation style, while it's consistent and it fits well within itself, I'm just not a fan of it. Like I don't really have an objective criticism to give it other than it just makes my eyes not happy.
yeah, I mean, it's not for you, kind of thing. When we watched it, I mean, this is just where taste comes in, or personal subjectivity. But I like the art style. I think maybe it's just because I've never read the manga, but I look at it and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. So
But the main thing is like I love Fire Punch. I think Fire Punch is his best work. People will push back against that. Like they will argue that Chainsaw Man is just objectively better because it does so many things that Fire Punch builds, and where he's feeling himself out. Like when he makes Fire Punch, you can tell he's really trying to feel out a bunch of concepts that make their culmination in Chainsaw Man. And I understand their point of view in saying that, but it is handled so beautifully in Fire Punch that it's just it's just so fucking well made. It's so sad that that it feels like they're never gonna make an anime out of it because the subject matter just is not conducive for the anime watching community. But that's the first thing I see whenever I see the name of the video is Denji How Fujimoto Struck Gold. I think he already struck gold, but if we're talking about character wise, I think Agni, the main character of Fire Punch, is much more complex and much deeper than Denji is. I think Denji, whenever he was written, was supposed to be easy for you to fall in love with and get to know. And maybe that's what he means by striking gold, but
well, I
that's just
mean, we would have to ascertain that the phrase struck gold wouldn't, and maybe he means more actual objective quality, but at least we can say that one character is vastly more popular than the other. Like Chainsaw Man is way more popular than Fire Punch. So obviously, in terms of marketability or relatability, Fujimoto certainly struck gold with Denji, and
because Chainsaw Man had hotter girls. That's the only reason.
well, I don't think it's fair to say that's the only reason. Let's give Broken Ronin a chance to convince us, right? But I
I
will
mean,
say,
I'm flaming Fujimoto more than I'm flaming Broken Ronin at this point.
but after getting his character assessment of Ichigo, I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot in depth. I wonder if it's just gonna be he's relatable because we've all been there because he's just lonely and he wants to have someone there, and we really sympathize with him because his backstory is so sad, and people can relate to being in rough times, and he it's just going to be very general, and people it's going to come back to he's relatable because he's relatable because he's relatable because I've done something like that, so he's relatable, and that's going to be
I
most of it.
I would hope that he's not going to do that because this is 2 years after the Ichigo video. I would hope his argumentation has vastly improved.
That is where
But
my expectations are. If he rises above those, good for him.
but you know what? Maybe we're going to get the line of I relate with Denji because I wanted pussy once.
Well, Denji's what, like 16, 17? And he's been 16 or 17 before. So
That
he's
is true.
qualified.
He does have experience being 15 through 17.
So he's pretty qualified here. So we should watch our fucking mouths, really.
That's true.
All right. Well, we've done so many long intros, but I think I've said everything I need to say building up, and we're only 11 minutes in. Are we speedrunning?
There's not a whole lot to say. If you haven't read Fire Punch, go read it. Audience watching this, go read Fire Punch. Just binge read the whole thing.
Okay.
Yes, you're gonna get to the part where the girl starts talking about the movies. It's a little bit cringy. Just keep reading it. It's fine. It's whatever. Who cares?
I care, dude. I won't stand for it.
Oh wow! I can't believe these explosions are like the Michael Bay films.
Dude, I look Michael Bay, bro.
The character actually says that, by the way.
That sounds like a woman talking about movies. I mean, so we should. I'm just kidding.
Dude, you're gonna get HR in here.
I'm just kidding. What? Well, I thought this is America. I can't make jokes.
What did I say?
What did I say? As they're like taking me up back. What did I say?
No emotion exists within a vacuum. Rage, grief, love, all of the emotions that exist along the spectrum of humanity's feelings require...
I mean, very basic edits, but can we just say how way better the edits have gotten since the couple of videos we've seen? Well, dude, we're not doing the manga panel zoom move in a direction. We have evolved. We're doing, like, cuts to frames on words, and the words on screen aren't, like, things he's saying. They're just examples of different emotions with an accompanying clip. That was actually good editing there. I actually like that editing.
Yeah, I'm not getting flashcards of words thrown in my face.
That are spelled wrong. Yeah. But I mean, just let's roll that back for a little bit because I actually really like that editing there. It's very simple, it's serviceable, but hey.
No emotion exists within
look at this.
Rage, grief, love, all of the emotions that exist along the spectrum of
like
feelings require some base, some catalyst to come to exist and be expressed in the way that they are.
Yeah, Whiplash is a great movie. Go watch Whiplash,
people are deprived of having emotions like this expressed to us. We lash out or overindulge in certain feelings. So what do you think would happen if you deprived someone of love, affection, care, and intimacy for 16 long years? And
this is gonna be a pretty complimentary video so far. We're 30 seconds in, but let's just start with one. How his writing has definitely improved. He's immediately hooked me in with. I know basically nothing about Denji, but being able to sum up his sad backstory in a way that is not only succinct but interesting and makes me want to continue the video, along with it seems like we're going to go a lot more in depth than he's just relatable because he has a bad backstory.
Well, I mean, within the first 30 seconds here, we've already gotten basically more to chew on than we did that entire first video.
Well, yeah, I will say he has said more in these 30 seconds than he said in the entire 20-minute Ichigo video, 100%. It's not even close.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm completely hooked in. I'm ready to watch this video.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard video because we are going to have to pause. And it could go downhill from here, but we're going to have to force ourselves to pause because I'm going to want to hear what he has to say. But, we can't just rip the guy's content.
Yeah, right.
And all at once flooded them with a life that held everything they ever dreamed of. What would happen if you placed someone who never had a mother in the clutches of Makima? Today, I'll be diving into Denji as a character and the circumstances surrounding his life in order to explain exactly why I find his attachment towards Makima and obsession with women in general funny on the surface, but deeply disturbing and saddening when putting the actual happenings under a microscope.
Okay, so edited by someone else. Johnny Starr, you are fantastic at your job. And you know what? This isn't even a dig at Broken Ronin. If you're wanting to cover a video that you want to take seriously and you don't either have the time or you don't believe that you have the ability to edit it like it deserves, perfectly fine to use your money and resources to get someone else whose job it is to make a quality edit. And boy, you got your money's worth with this guy. He's doing a fantastic job so far.
Yeah,
And man,
it's gonna totally sound like a dig, but yeah, like 100%. If you can find someone who does good editing like this is 100% a boon on your channel to be able
yeah,
to do this.
100%. This is a resource you can pull. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna knock you for not being a masterclass fucking editor. Fucking we're not.
No,
But
yeah.
guess what? The moment we get the fucking money to be able to fucking hire an editor to do this shit for us, we'll be done. That's good on you for finding someone who has a talent, obviously.
Yeah, and then I mean we're getting so much to chew on. Like we're gonna have to roll it back here, but this is more than just he's relatable or whatever. We're more actually discussing his relationship with Makima and his relationship with we're gonna get so much more in depth. What frustrates me, Broken Ronin, is that this is such an interesting and complex subject, and I'm so disappointed that I'm 1 minute out of 15 minutes into it. Why is this not a 45-minute video? How can you not talk about this for an hour? I feel like there's so. I don't even watch the series, but I instantly hear the despair of not having a mother and the loneliness, and then you get everything thrust at you all at once, and you get handed to Makima, who, from what I know of the internet, is a very manipulative and toxic person. So he gets handed to Makima, who's the worst kind of person for this person with attachment issues and insecurity to get hung up on, and his horniness is probably manipulated and forces him to do things that are horrible and depraved. Who knows? Again, this is coming from someone who's seen one episode, so
100%. This video, you should have made this 30 or 45 minutes. You should have spent 15 to 20 minutes talking about Makima, 10 to 15 minutes talking about Power, and you should have spent another 10 to 15 minutes talking about Reze.
yeah,
That should be your fucking minimum when you're talking about Denji and his relationships with women.
but
We're not even going to start talking about Kobeni, and like these names don't really mean anything to you because you haven't watched the show yet. But all of these female characters, these are very influential females in his life. One is the mother figure, one's the sister figure, one's the love interest, and one is the
daughter.
friend.
I do know of the daughter figure at one point. Or would that be the sister figure you're referring to?
No, the daughter figure comes way later. It's not even been animated yet. But actually, fit. So you have the daughter, the mother, the sister, the friend, and then you have the girlfriend.
So I know some of those names. Again, the internet makes viewing certain things very interesting because I know Power is like the girl who is like inhabiting the body of a dead girl, and she like stinks and she has the devil horns. Then you've got
so she's gonna be the sister. They get along like siblings.
Then Kobeni is the sloppy blowjob devil.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's very nervous. I know that's the only thing I know about her, and I've seen some compromising photos of her. Then
non-HR compliant photos.
Yeah, and then Makima is like the very toxic. I could fix her, but honestly, whatever the fuck is wrong with her is way hotter.
Yeah, I attribute her to being the mother figure. I mean,
oof. And who's the love interest? Would you say is that Kobeni?
No, that's Reze.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like with the mother figure thing, Makima is deliberately portrayed as being very motherly. She's being very. She has that sense of authority over Denji. Yeah, he's interested in her, but you could make the argument that that's like an entire
mommy issues.
Yeah, entire like Freudian based thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I think from what I know about Denji, I think Denji would be romantically interested in any moderately attractive human female, not even human, not even alive, moderately attractive female that gives him the time of day.
I mean, now that I even think about it, I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but like, you could even go further with the Freudian example where Denji's super into fucking girls' boobs, and that's supposed to be a whole like lack of like female intimacy in your life thing.
See, I hear that and I just go, what a glasses emoji way of saying that most men like boobs, man. And
Freud,
this
you are glasses emoji nerd.
and the scientific psychological reason for why men like big butts is because they cannot lie. Let's continue.
Even remotely familiar with Chainsaw Man and Denji as a character should be aware of just how bad his life truly was.
Yeah, I
Raised
know
without
this.
Thing I will say, Denji, before he got Pochita inside of him, had a way better design than him afterward.
That doesn't
Him
mean
with the eye
anything to me.
patch looks way fucking cooler.
Yeah, this doesn't mean anything to me.
Mother and brought up by a father who can barely be called that, the very tip of Denji's backstory iceberg would be enough to raise concerns for his well-being mentally. There are dozens of real-life studies and examples that demonstrate the negative effects of being raised by a single parent that is involved in their child's life. And even in these scenarios that vastly exceed Denji's overall quality of life, the results are horrifying. Trust issues, low self-esteem, severe attachment issues, moments of extreme anger, apathy, lack of proper social programming, and numerous other negative repercussions stem from this single issue of lacking a mother. If this, and only this, was the source of Denji's strange behavior,
Stop.
I would already have
Hurts my eyes. Stop doing that.
Stop flashing the image.
I hate that flash actually because it flashes back white and it's like, think fast, Chuckle. Think fast, Chuckle. Think fast, Chuckle.
Can I just say again, the editing in this is so phenomenal.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Johnny Starr again. I mean, I'm gonna shout you out more than anything else in this video. Just wow. I mean, there's not much for me to say here because I'm not as familiar, but also we're kind of still getting into the concept of
We're still getting the history right now.
And yeah, I mean, these are things that are pretty cut and dry. Yeah, and lack of a mother, I can see all these issues coming in, and it doesn't seem like he has either parent. So just growing up as an orphan, what does that do to you? And you know, also living a life as basically a monster hunter until you get killed. What does that do to you mentally? So,
well, I mean, also the sheer fact of at the beginning of his life, or whenever he's doing that monster hunting, he's basically just a slave to the fucking yakuza.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even really getting paid because all the money he would get just immediately gets subtracted to his debt, even though he's probably long outpaid his debt.
Well, remember he's paying the debt of his dead father.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes in like the whole sins of the father thing, but yeah, whatever.
All right, let's continue.
have a plethora of information, both real and rooted in the world of Chainsaw Man, to pull from. However, this was only the very beginning of what is shown to be a long line of tragedy after tragedy. Sometime after the passing of his mother, his father dies, exposing him to the idea of death as a concept in general. Death is a very heavy fact of life for humans to deal with, even in adulthood. So for Denji to be burdened with his own father's death,
even in adulthood, I think that's actually kind of weird to say because as a kid, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a weird take, but I feel like as a kid you don't understand it as much. You don't have that same kind of full memory and relationship and attachment. That's just a person that's been around and that they're not around anymore. And I say this as someone who has had family members die as a kid, and I didn't really get it. And then I have family members die now as an adult, and it hits me way harder because I understand it. I get more of the details of their death and how they went and what was going. You know, I have a lot more imagination. I know it sounds weird as an adult, but in terms of my ability, because I understand the world more, my ability to empathize and imagine the situation that person was in before their death, if it was painful or what.
death while he was still a child is just terrible. And the Yakuza promising to kill Denji if he didn't collect the equivalent of over $4,000 in a single day did not help the boy's mental state in the slightest. The only way for him to survive was to make a contract with Pochita and show his work to the Yakuza, becoming a personal devil hunter for them and quite literally fighting to survive every day. Because of Pochita and his tenacity, Denji was able to make a living while still paying them off. Barely. In the process of taking on the danger of hunting down devils, Denji had to sell an eye, one of his nuts, and a kidney in an attempt to pay off his debts. Now this right here is particularly tragic to me because of what this lifestyle teaches Denji. Your only value in this world comes from what you can do for others. If you can't be useful, you're as good as dead. This outlook is reinforced by several characters in the series, but the start of this very toxic mindset originated from the Yakuza that Denji was forced to pay off. Day in and day out, Denji worked and worked and worked for someone else, being someone else's unwilling pet. And for what? A single slice of bread every day? A life so unfulfilling that most would despair?
The thing I will say that's really interesting about this point that Fujimoto makes whenever it comes to Chainsaw Man is there's another theme that was carried over from Fire Punch, which is the pointlessness of everyday life, and how like this one he's elaborating on that was a theme that was talked a little bit on in Fire Punch, but he's really elaborating on it now whenever it comes to Chainsaw Man, which is the idea that no matter what you're doing, the sheer fact of every day of your life that you're going to have to work. Denji's like the most outward example of exactly that point, right? Like, yeah, he's in debt to the Yakuza. He has to do these things. He's doing it for just one piece of bread, or he fucking has to eat his fucking cigarettes, or whatever. He has to sell parts of his body. But that's just the most extreme example of you take the devil hunters that are doing their day-to-day life. They have to fight things. They have to do this for what, a paycheck, just so that they can go do it again, because if they don't, they'll have nothing to their name at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commentary on the rat race that existing in society just brings with it.
Well, and I think the own counter to that, I guess, ideology or to that nihilism exists somewhat in Chainsaw Man in terms of what makes daily life not meaningless and not just monotonous and working day in and day out are the relationships you forge. Like, sure, maybe what you do in terms of your job is just to get a paycheck so that you can keep paying your bills, so that you can keep going to work. But if you can frame your life around, I have people that I care about, I pay these bills so that I can continue to surround myself with these people that I care about and take care of them. And that is where I get the meaning. I get the meaning from the relationships and the memories that I build with the people I care about, not necessarily the number of dollars I make in my life and how how much food I eat during the day. And I think that's, at least from the what limited I'm familiar with Chainsaw Man, that is somewhat something that happens in the story, where he does at the end of the day surround himself with people he cares about and people that care about him and depend on him, and that is able to give his life meaning. I don't know what you think about that, but
No, you're hitting the nail pretty well on the head when it comes to that. I mean, a good quote that comes out of here is Denji is a really big fan of bad movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the quotes towards the end of Chainsaw Man is whenever he asks a character if in their perfect world they would still have bad movies. And I won't give the resolution to that, but I will say that the answer and then the reveal of that moment really paints into what it means to live your life whenever you feel like nihilism is taking hold, where it feels like it's pointless.
Hunger so intense that he can't even sleep peacefully, a heart disease that he couldn't afford to get treated. This lack of self-worth that subconsciously builds within Denji is only further boosted by the fact that he lacked a loving childhood and faces the repercussions of that, which I mentioned earlier. His only, and I do mean only, saving grace during those years was Pochita, his pet devil who he cared for deeply. Pochita was someone who he could talk, laugh, eat, and even dream with. But even this was taken away from Denji by the Yakuza's own greed and dreams for themselves. Betraying and quite literally backstabbing both him and Pochita, Denji comes face to face with death. The same death that took his mother away. The same death that his father inflicted upon himself. The same death that Denji narrowly avoided years ago. As he predicted, it all finally caught up with him, and he was cut into pieces and thrown in the garbage. The zombie devil couldn't be bothered with Denji in the slightest. He was discarded with the same flippancy that I throw away my gum with. In the very first episode of the series, Denji dies in the same way that he lived his first life.
That seems a bit strange. Would the zombie devil be able to like consume him and get something from him, or was he just a body to be torn up? Because we see other bodies and other pieces thrown in there with them. I understand the theme you're kind of trying to go for here, but I don't know if Denji is being discarded as if he's worthless. It might just be,
So here's where you get to kind of a weird part, where like, whenever you look back at it, like a whole big plot point is getting the heart of the Chainsaw Devil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck? And the zombie devil gets included in that later anyway. Why the fuck wouldn't the zombie devil eat the little chainsaw demon right there, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because isn't the panel before, or one of the panels showing that he showed on screen earlier, said what we want is the demon's power? So if you want the demon's power, then get it. He's dead. He's holding Pochita right there. Or is the idea that they believe they accidentally destroyed the demon when they stabbed it and sliced it up with them, and so they believe they can't consume it?
Well, actually, no. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think right after they kill him, I think immediately after that they make the contract and he gets the power boost. So maybe he didn't have the opportunity to. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
Well,
let's see if he goes over it.
Dog. The only reason Denji is given a second chance at life is because of the kindness of Pochita, his one friend in this world. By literally becoming Denji's heart, Pochita allows his friend to live on and achieve his dream, mirroring the contract Denji made with Pochita.
But I mean, they were moved and thrown in the dumpster, so they were dead and defeated at one point.
That Pochita loved hearing.
They were moved.
In order to do that,
consumed.
he needs to kill the zombie devil and all of the Yakuza who he paid debt to, and so he does. He rips, shreds, and eviscerates any and everyone that gets in the way of his dream. All who oppose him face his chainsaw, and before long, it's over. It's all over. All that remains are the bodies and him. Finally, he is free from debt. Finally, he can start his life anew. Finally, he can begin his life as a true human being and not a pet. Unfortunately, it came at the cost of Pochita's life, but he still lives on within Denji's heart. He still lives on within Denji's mind. The streak of tragedy is over. Denji can take the first step to achieving his dream.
And then Makima. Okay. I like that edit there.
Yeah, that was really good edit as well. Really good build up there.
Oh, and Maki shows up like at the end of the fight. Okay. So he never gets any time at all to be free after the fight. He just immediately gets introduced to her. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wow.
Before
I know
Denji
who
can get
that
started
is.
on his journey to happiness, Makima appears, or what I like to call her, the worst thing to ever happen to Denji. Makima is a textbook manipulator. She builds Denji up, giving him the friends, the family, the food that he couldn't have ever even dreamed of, before taking them all away and casting Denji back into the pits of hell. All of the actions Makima partakes in to manipulate Denji are discussed.
The thing I would say is at the end of Chainsaw Man Part 1, the reveal that happens, so good whenever it goes to show what Makima's true colors are. Like anyone in the comments who has got to that point, bro, that reveal though.
They're vile, they're evil. But in my opinion, the action that most genuinely gets under my skin, the action that I find deeply disturbing, is Makima's manipulative approach to dealing with Denji's need for intimacy. You see, what I think is so tragic about Denji's horniness in the story is the fact that it's only so exaggerated, so unregulated, so uncontrolled, because Denji lacks something. He lacks a major step in his personal development from his childhood due to the nature of his upbringing. The intimacy that I've been harping on and talking about throughout this video is that key factor. He had no father, he had no mother, he had no friends, he had no family. All he had was a single pet that he could share his dreams.
Okay.
That
Dante,
disappeared from his life.
Pochita, you fucker. No, alright, I get it. We're getting a little repetitive, I think. There's not much I can say here because I know that he's lived alone. I would just much rather continue on with the point than recycle it. Yeah, but
I hadn't thought about it. There's actually a really cool, interesting parallel that I hadn't really thought of, which maybe people will point and laugh at me whenever like it talks about Denji and Pochita, and then you get the parallel for much later with Makima and her dogs.
Huh.
There's just a really interesting parallel there that I hadn't thought about.
He didn't have the ability to express feelings of camaraderie with a friend, or the loving embrace of a parent, or even the excitement and nervousness of pursuing a crush. Every experience that a young boy, a young child, needs to grow into a mature, kind-hearted person was lost on Denji. So we see this manifest in an overwhelming amount of lust for every woman that shows interest in him, or even just women at all. Initially, Denji literally can't distinguish between platonic and romantic emotions with women because he's never had to do that before. Before Makima's interference, Denji had never really come across a woman, much less several women who, at different points in the series, took advantage of Denji's lust to get what they want. Makima leads Denji by his nose the entire series. Power gets Denji to risk his life against the Bat Devil. Himeno motivates Denji to do his best against the Eternity Devil, and Rize manipulates Denji into trusting her and lowering his guard just so she can kill him. When you put his life into perspective, Denji is just what a 5-year-old boy.
Yeah, dude, no, the whole Reze arc is like really sad because like you get to see that for Denji, and then you get to see her take out like a bunch of like established characters. Like it really fucking sucks.
Okay.
Boy would be if you gave them the hormones and desires of a 16-year-old. No proper social skills, no emotional regulation, no ability to mitigate reactions, just pure, dumb desire fueled by barrels and barrels of hormones that convince him to act strictly on his lustful impulses. His need for someone to truly care for him
they really
takes the form
animated
of
the
physical
boob squeeze.
desire, because unlike me,
hell yeah, dude,
or any other person who has the wherewithal to truly understand where their feelings are originating from, Denji doesn't. He just is a massive desire. Desire for a truly special relationship and desire to satisfy his lust. The conflating of these two ideas is why he's willing to die for his dreams of getting with Makima. It's the reason he fights not one, but 2 devils in order to touch power. Denji truly thinks in his heart that if he can just satisfy his carnal urges, he'd also be able to fill in the hole that is in his heart. It is only after being let down in his encounter with power, where Denji is confronted with the fact that pure, lustful indulgence isn't what he wants. It isn't what he needs. He goes to Makima, telling her that he's worried none of his dreams will be worth pursuing because of how let down he is. And what does Makima do in this vulnerable moment? She takes advantage of Denji's naivete again. She uses the fact that Denji likes her against him. She uses her appearance against him. And she almost gives Denji what he wants. Not just a surface level lustful release, but intimacy. True, genuine intimacy. The kind you can only share with someone that you care about.
Okay, alright, look, we're getting more in depth here. Yeah, I think that is pretty brutal. The worst of her manipulation is not giving him what he wants, but giving him what he needs. She knows what he needs more than anything is intimacy, so she gives that to him in order to take that away from him and make him dependent on her. Wow. That's pretty brutal. That's pretty good. All right.
I mean, it gets revealed much later, but like what exactly she's planning to do by doing all these horrible things to him, it just makes it that much more vile.
Well, yeah, because I'm wondering if all you need to do is get his heart, then why do all these games with him? Why not just kill him when he's asleep and eat his heart? I mean, I would like the reveal personally. So, spoiler warning. What is her goal here?
So we're going full spoiler here. So if you don't want spoilers for any sort of Chainsaw Man stuff, please click out.
Or just
If
mute
not,
it.
or I mean, are we going to go through the trouble of giving a timestamp?
Yeah, I will.
All right, we'll have a timestamp for whenever the spoiler section is done. This will be a quick spoiler section. So, what? So here's the last warning. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So Makima turns out to be the control devil.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. So her entire goal, which gets revealed later, is like Makima is able to remember the things that were deleted from history, and it turns out that the Chainsaw Devil has the ability for anything it eats. It deletes the concept of it from the world.
Oh.
So, like in the world of Chainsaw Man, like the Holocaust didn't technically happen.
Because the Chainsaw Devil ate the concept of the Holocaust Devil?
Yeah, it ate the Holocaust Devil, exactly.
Wow.
Same how there's not like nuclear bombs either, because the concept of it was destroyed, right?
Oh, but she can remember things that were deleted.
Mm-hmm. So her whole thing is she wants to subjugate Chainsaw Man because she loves him or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So what she's trying to do is Pochita loves Denji, and you know Pochita's Chainsaw Devil, right?
Mhm.
So she's trying to gather control over Denji, who is bound with Chainsaw Man, to try to control the Chainsaw Devil, and it's just a whole thing where like she's trying to inflict this despair on him so that either he or Pochita will end up separating from him so that she can have Chainsaw Man, himself. And yeah, it's been a little bit since I've read it, so I don't have all the full details. But that's basically the gist of it. Is like,
But, I guess what I'm not getting is why wouldn't she be able to get what she wants just by eating his heart?
because she doesn't want to like take the power or like get rid of the Chainsaw Devil herself. She wants to just control it.
So
So I
she
guess
doesn't love Denji, she loves the Chainsaw Man. She loves the fusion between...
Yeah. So me talking about earlier, where there's a scene way later that really is like the big, like the interesting reveal for me is she is they end up separating out Pochita and Denji. So you have the full Chainsaw Devil like running around doing stuff, right?
Mhm.
She ends up getting to it, and she's totally engrossed in it with whatever, right?
Mhm.
With Denji, who in his normal human body was able to sneak up on her and actually gets a kill shot on Makima. He does this because he realized that Makima never took interest and never paid attention to him. She was only ever interested in Chainsaw Man. So all of the moments of like interaction that she has where she is actually like involved or being intimate or whatever, it's strictly her being interested in the Chainsaw Devil, not in Denji. Denji's just the medium that the Chainsaw Devil is in.
Ah, I see.
So part of the interesting reveal at the end is that Denji's able to get a kill shot on her because she never actually recognized when Denji was ever even there.
Oh, that's really interesting.
He just happened to be the body that what she actually cared about was in.
And we do know that these devils can reincarnate, right?
Mm-hmm. So that's where the daughter figure comes.
Well, is there
Is the
any
reincarnation?
Trying to ask a fucking question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there any kind of reveal that perhaps the Chainsaw Devil and the Control Devil in a previous incarnation had some relationship, and that's why she's so obsessed with him? Or is it just
Never
the
shown.
potential power?
Never shown.
Hmm.
You do get the Control Devil does reincarnate, and that's the daughter figure that Denji has to take care of.
Alright, continuing on.
Alright, spoiler time. Done.
Bang.
Kind you can only truly enjoy if you think that person cares about you. However, Makima doesn't tell Denji this. She allows him to remain ignorant to why her touch felt so much better than Power's, and she leaves him in the dark forcing him to need her as a guiding light in this unfamiliar territory. If she keeps him attached to her, if she keeps him requiring her for happiness, then she can continue to manipulate and string him along, all for her own purposes, all for Chainsaw Man. It's painful to see this unfold in front of your eyes when you know what Makima's plan is, because you know just how close Denji is in reality to striking upon a deeper truth, and you know just how skillfully Makima is keeping it out of Denji's reach. Over time, despite Makima's
That is one thing that I will say is really expertly done by the manga from here, is like the moment you get that context for what Makima is, it puts so much of her action in appropriate context. Like it is almost a masterclass on a reveal and keeping it just enough out of view for it to be so well placed.
And I assume we're talking about the type of thing she is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I had to get the cats out of here. Alright. Let's continue.
Denji is able to steadily work towards the idea that I'm talking about. Rather than just be attracted to any person who shows him interest, he attempts to be more discerning, refraining from sleeping with Himeno, deciding that they can act as friends, and even becoming more casual around power.
Fumbling.
A character who he previously showed some sort of physical interest in is growth for Denji's character. As chapters progress, Denji seems to
You can't take the power would be gross. She wouldn't take
No,
her
but
ass
like
back.
fumbling Himeno, like she's a bad bitch. Look at that.
Too bad Denji's like 15.
That's fine.
It's Japan. It's a
That's
different time and place.
It's like 4 and squared.
develop mentally and socially in the way you would expect a child to over time. Not everyone that is attractive needs to be someone you lose your mind over. Not everyone who flirts with you is someone that you need to pursue. And for Denji, it became more possible to look at women in his life as friends. It became more possible for him to even fathom the idea of friends in the first place. Even though Himeno died and was a bump in the road of his growth, Denji's development was able to continue without
what
much
if-
of a hitch.
What a way to refer to someone's fucking death. A bump in the road to someone's growth. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it was a bump in the road for Denji. It was a fucking pothole for Aki, though.
Well, just saying it's a bump in the road for someone's development being someone you cared about dying is just kind of crazy. But
Jimena's a really weird situation, because I actually would agree with him in saying it's a bump in the road, because, like, the Jimeno death for me felt like it didn't get as much reverence, and, like, they didn't hover on it as long as I feel like it should have. Like,
But-
it felt really quick.
But we're not really talking about our reception of the death. It'd be how it impacts the character.
I mean, yeah.
So when he says it's a bump in the road for Denji's development, I mean, that would be a criticism for me. If someone he cared about died, like, and it's just a bump in the road for his development, he's not, like, something isn't learned or grown, or we don't, like, there's not some kind of insight into what happens to Denji when he loses someone he cares about. Like, if it's just a bump in the road, that's kind of disappointing.
And I'm gonna push back on you a little bit, just because, like, Jimeno was really more of, like, an Aki thing. And, like, Denji's relationship with her wasn't that super strong. And even Denji himself has a really much more, like, offhand approach offhand approach mentally whenever it comes to, like, people's deaths and stuff. Like, the only ones that really that are really tough for him to handle are, like, if someone much, much closer were to perish, Like, Jimeno wasn't there long enough for him to get that level of development.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just not as interesting to me, I guess. That you can have a character that is close enough to be considered they're sleeping in the same bed together, and wants to be more of a friend than anything. And she can die, and he doesn't really seem affected by it. I don't know. I yeah, I think from a writing perspective, when you kill a character, it should be treated not. It doesn't have to have certain reverence or respect, but it should be treated with the impact that it deserves. And the idea, it's like, well, one character cared about her more, and we had that character getting upset. I don't know if that's quite how that should be written. I mean, that character should leave a hole in the lives of every other character that interacted with them and impacted them. I don't know. I guess if that's in Denji's character, that you need like a certain amount of time to be with him before he cares if you die. I don't know. I wouldn't consider that a good guy, but I mean, you don't have to be a good guy to be a good character. So
You gotta be a horny piece of shit, is what you gotta be.
He was continuously growing and evolving as a person, leaving the realm of his early horniness and developing into a person that, while still socially and emotionally stunted, can function more normally within society. Time continues to move forward, and Denji continues to grow into his own. The Bomb Devil arc, in my opinion, actually shows Denji making stride towards becoming someone that actually acts his age. Even though Denji fights internally on the matter of Rize versus Makima, I think his decision at the end of the Bomb Devil arc to go to the restaurant and wait to elope with her shows that in this arc, Denji chose intimacy first. He placed the experiences that he thought were genuine over any kind of horniness that he may have felt. Sure, Rize said that she only shared those moments with Denji to manipulate him, but Denji didn't believe that at all, and he truly prepared to leave everything behind.
Just so we can pause on that. What a fucking brutal manga panel. Every expression, every blush since I met you, all of it was a lie. And, I mean, we'll enter back into spoilers here. I mean, what does she mean by the product of my training? Who trained her?
That was a Letty line right there.
But yeah, the product of my training, what is she referring to? Did Makima train her to do that?
No, she's a part of like the whole like Katana Man and like the weird like Santa Claus Strike Force. It's another group.
Okay. Alright.
Makima included, all for her. If Makima had not interfered, if Rize was able to reach the cafe, I truly think that Denji as a character would be on track to be an entirely different person than we know him today.
Oh, well then the implication from that sounds like Makima had something to do with Rize.
No, Ray, spoilers. No, Makima ends up killing Rize. Or defeating her.
I see.
She jumps her in an alleyway.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Major setback for Denji. But despite this, I think one of the biggest strides that he makes after this arc is deciding to stay and care for power in a delicate mental state after their encounter with the Darkness Devil. He chooses to help Aki take care of power over hanging out with Makima all by himself. Denji doesn't understand exactly why he does it, but I think I do. At some point in time, Denji had become so used to power and Aki, so used to his friends, that he started to get a bit of an understanding, even if only subconsciously, of what he genuinely was looking for. What genuinely...
Well, I mean, yeah, Denji wouldn't understand it because he's emotionally stunted, but what Denji needs more than just, I mean, not to sound crude, but like a meat hole to fuck, which is all Makima would really be, because he has no real intimacy with her. What he needs is friends that care for him genuinely, and he cares for her genuinely, and there's no quid pro quo or no expectation of getting something out of a situation. It's just people that genuinely want to spend time around you. And Denji wouldn't know how to put that into words, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a decent analysis. And look, I think this is a way better pitch for someone who doesn't know anything about Chainsaw Man, who would want to get into it because of one character. This how much you've made Denji interesting and likable and empathetic and kind of pitiable, where your video on Ichigo, which is supposed to be a big sales pitch, made me dislike him if I was taking your words as fact. Good thing I didn't, but you know, it's kind of weird how we didn't like the Yuta video, which is his most popular. We didn't really like the other two, but this random pick about Denji is really solid.
The only thing I will say is I really hope in these next 2 minutes he goes over the relationship between Denji and Power. Like, I really hope so.
We'll see.
Filled him. More than being with Makima and being someone who is a slave to their own desires, he wanted the closeness that comes from relationships. Even though Denji is annoyed and grossed out by Power, he does come to care for her genuinely. In moments that would make Denji at the start of the series go crazy, he doesn't really care. He helps Power bathe because that is what she needs him to do, and when she asks him to suck her blood as a form of apology, he does so. Not because it's hot or that he's attracted to her, but because Power is his friend. With Aki, we see that these polar opposite personalities find common ground and become friends that truly care for one another. Aki is willing to give up his revenge for the safety of Power and Denji is able to put a pause on his pursuits for Makima in order to help Aki take care of Power. This is real, genuine growth on Denji's part, and
I will say, and maybe it's just because I'm not familiar with the scenes, but surely the framing of how both of those actions were being done had some, at least romantic implications. They're in the bath together, very close. She's basically on top of him while they're nearly touching lips. And then when you could have chosen any position to drink her blood, but you choose the one where you're basically planking on top of her, going for her neck. I think both of those were purposely framed in a way that looks like there's still hope for some romantic interest, or maybe that was just fan service bait.
Not sure. I would probably presume fan service bait. Got to sell those mangas any way we can.
I think it's weird to go like, he finally learns how to be a pure platonic friend and shows him nearly kissing her in the bathtub, both of them naked. And it's like, dude, yeah, I remember all the times me and you have done that, Trevor. I mean, you're just such great friends.
Why you gotta call me out on the air, dude?
And I think that this is when he is most fulfilled as a person. Unfortunately, Makima snatches this all away from Denji in an instant, leaving him alone and hollowed out. With no support system besides Makima, he decides that it would just be easier to be a slave to his desires. It would be easier to just not think and let someone else decide his actions for him. He reverts back to the way he was in the very beginning of the series.
Wow, he skirted past an entire huge spoiler. Oh, good job, man. You managed to transition the script without referencing this massive spoiler. Good job.
I'm a little disappointed though, because if I'm looking at a video essay on talking about the depth of Denji, do not give me the spoiler-free analysis. That's why this is 15 minutes. Look, I am not going to get mad if I click on a Denji video essay and I get spoiled for what happens in the series about Denji. I'm getting a little fucking blue balled. No. I'm getting a little blue balled. I want to hear about the things that happen and the impact that they have, and I think that you could really. This writing is so good in this one video. You're actually talking about things that are in depth and are interesting, but you're like worried about spoiling people that haven't seen Chainsaw Man when this should be an analyzation of what happens in Chainsaw Man.
Well, it's really weird because he's analyzing like the stuff for where the anime would get to, but now he's making reference to like part of a major manga thing right after a huge spoiler.
I don't know. I think if you're doing a spoiler-free or trying to keep certain spoilers that would be majorly impactful to the character you're talking about, I'm just not as interested in that. I am fine with being spoiled on a video essay about a character. Give me all. Why is it? I'm almost getting the feeling like you're holding out on me. Where's the video I click on where you assume that I have seen all of Chainsaw Man so I can actually get the full juice?
Dude, you tell that to the One Piece subreddit, dude.
I'm not a fan of spoiler-free character video essays. It's like what is the point? I don't know.
Why don't you just do 2 cuts of the video? Well, I mean, why?
I don't think you need to do a spoiler-free cut. I think you. How are you going to actually, in depth, analyze the decisions and the reactions and the impact and the objective writing and the narrative structure of a work when you're not including the most important and impactful moments of the story? Because those are the things you're going to want to be free from spoiler. Like, I got the same criticism about people that tried to review Endgame but do a spoiler-free review. That's fucking useless to me. Tell people to go watch Endgame, and if they haven't, don't watch this video. But don't give me a spoiler-free review of Endgame where all the most critical parts of the story are going to be spoilers. This is of no use to me.
It's like I'm getting a steak, but you've already cut off most of the meat and just gave me the bone.
Oh, dude, there's gristle in there, though. Oh, thank you.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the meat.
But we did leave you your whole loaded baked potato. Okay.
With no bacon and no butter.
Then why'd you say loaded?
It's loaded with fun.
It's loaded with vinegar. What? Yeah, we thought you'd like it.
Is.
Reverts back to being someone else's pet. What really makes this hurt even more for me, what Fujimoto did to twist the knife in the backs of all of his readers, was show us that Makima was doing this all for Chainsaw Man. Not Denji the human, but Chainsaw Man the devil. Makima never cared for Denji. She never loved him.
Wait, you go spoiler free for everything, and then you tell this?
Okay, well, that's rough.
Wait.
So you're holding out on me only. Hey, dude. You know we felt bad. We felt bad about that steak. So here's a beef Wellington. What the fuck, dude? But I already filled up on the potato and vinegar.
You already ate the potato. Why the fuck did you bring out the filet mignon?
If you'd have told me I was getting a beef Wellington, I would not have eaten the piss potato.
Dude, what the fuck? This is This is such a good reveal in the moment because this right after the huge climactic moment, you get to follow Chainsaw Man around. You have all these really fun moments. You get this reveal, and this reveal is so good. It is so good because you get to have that moment of catharsis with Denji, knowing that Makima never cared about him, and then you get to get her, dude. But no.
Oh, you're tricking me out with these pauses.
Acknowledged him. Just like the Yakuza, she wanted Denji for what he could provide for her, not who he truly was on the inside. He realizes this, and by the end of the series, he's able to take Makima down
show
and
the
escape
fucking
from
manga
the
panels
subservient
too, man.
attitude he'd struggled with for so long.
Look at that
What
ass.
I really struggled with, what I still struggle with, is the fact that Denji was really close to becoming a more complete person who had friends and a life that he could live and enjoy. But Makima took that away from him. She stripped him of those people, and even though in the end she was defeated, the people she took are still gone. All that remains are the echoes of a lifestyle that Denji could have lived. All that remains is the tragedy of Denji's horniness.
Alright, goddamn it, dude. Okay.
Alright, look, so first of all, I think when you're trying to close it out all serious, you come up with a different name. Don't call it the tragedy of Denji's horniness. Call it like the tragedy of Denji's attachment, or the tragedy of Makima's manipulation.
Did you say the tragedy of Denji?
Or, I mean, I really like the tragedy of Makima's manipulation, because that's really what it comes down to. Because again,
actually,
it's not actually.
Then you'd have like a cool theme thing because then the title of it, you take the agency away from Denji and it's taken by Makima at the end. You have like a whole like little thematic thread there.
Well, I mean, it's more than that because again, the way Makima truly manipulated him was not through his horniness, but it was through his need for intimacy. That's what made he even highlighted that in the video that she gave him what he needed, not what he wanted, which is a true intimate connection. So it's not the tragedy of Denji's horniness; it's the tragedy of Denji's loneliness.
So, the thing I'm going to say off the gate is, it was a really good video.
Which is why we got through it. Well, I'm just sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but a really good video, which shows why we got through it twice as fast. We're only an hour in.
Wow, only an hour. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah. That's why I wanted to cut in just to say that real quick, and you can continue with your thought. But yeah,
Like, what a amazing video until the 14-minute mark where you shit the bed immediately. Dude, why the fuck are you going to do a spoiler-free thing and then show the ending of the fucking manga
well, it's like the
at the end
worst of
of your
both
video?
worlds. Yeah, with no spoiler. Well, yeah, like you cut out all the review and analysis for the sake, we thought, of avoiding spoilers, and then you spoil the ending of the manga. And I'm not really mad that you spoiled the end of the manga. Like, we're not mad at the spoiler. We're mad at the lack of consistency. The fact that
Like,
you were willing to spoil the end of the manga means this actually could have been like a 50-minute analysis.
you could have given us gold to gone through. This was such a good video. You could have put out such good content, and I would have had such a good time watching it. But you just fucking blue balled me, and then you started jerking my cock at the very end before you walked out of the room. Like,
You
what the
Makibaed
fuck,
me.
man?
You Makibaed me.
What the fuck, dude?
I will say, I'm a little bit less positive of this video than you seem to be. I don't think this was all that well. I think this is good for the standards we had for him, and the editing for sure carried it. But I think it's all right. I think a lot of it is repeated if we really think about it. The only things he really said in that 15 minutes was Denji lacked a mother or father growing up that gave him severe attachment issues, and Makima took advantage of that in various ways by explaining basically the plot.
Oh god, am I falling into my normal rabbit hole, which is we're deep enough into this case that I'm starting to hit a new standard for media?
Well, yeah, like I think when you and I were going through someone else's channel, you were like, "This video isn't bad," and I was like, "Trevor, I think your standards are just really low at this point."
I'm sorry. I'm like a I'm like a fish bobber. I adjust to whatever water level we're at.
Well, I think it's because you want to see the good. Like, you don't want to be seen as someone who's viewing it in bad faith, so you want to see the good in it. And so you're like, I'm seeing improvement here. And maybe it's because of the way we've jumped around. I will say, this deserves, from what we've seen so far, this should be your most popular video. I would much rather have seen this as your... I would much rather have more people have seen... I can't phrase this correctly. If I was you, I would have preferred more people click on this video than the Yuta video. I'm going to be honest. And I wonder if it's because No Operator is a bigger channel. Can we actually do a live fact check on that? How many subs does Broken Ronin have, and how many subs does No Operator
is at 71k. Broken Ronin's at 123k.
Huh. So for some reason, those two coming together made a 1.5 million view video. Yeah, I think this video should be your most popular of what we've seen so far. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. We don't really have much. I don't have much to say at this point. Like normally we'd have a whole lot of thoughts, but I mean,
I'm just so fucking pissed off. I'm so fucking angry at the. I'm gonna not spoil things for you guys. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys see Digital Makima.
I mean, he never explicitly said this is going to be spoiler free, but that's the implication we got from how he was dancing around and not bringing up certain plot points. It's like, well, I guess he's doing like a spoiler free review, which is weird, but okay.
There is a scene right after the dog scene with Makima where it perfectly portrays the level of manipulation that she does to Denji. If he wanted to do fully full spoilers, he would have mentioned that because that is a perfect encapsulation of what she does. He deliberately chose not to include that because he viewed it as too much of a spoiler.
But then he shows him the panel of her killing him. You know, that could be attributed to the editor, actually. Well, no, because he actually mentions it by name. He actually.
Yes. Yes.
I tried to give you.
That means the editor had to he had to go grab the manga panels. Yeah. Yes.
I'm trying to find. Let me type in Broken Ronin.
Yeah, the editor had to go.
The full potential of
the manga panels. So. So yeah.
Man, that is his most popular video by far. I'm still stuck on Case File 3 in my head, man. I cannot believe that is his most popular video by far. Such a boring video. But I think we have two paths ahead of us. We could just clock out early for the day. You know, we've gotten the Case File done. Or we could go straight into my video. It's kind of up to... I think what we're gonna do.
You look over, you see me already reaching for my punch card.
I think that we are gonna end this one early, and we're gonna make it a separate video. I like keeping it a 5-video special. I think.
Here's what we're gonna do, guys. Here's what we'll do that will appease you. On next video, we'll do next video, and we'll do the full channel analysis and get all of our opinions off from him in that same video. We'll put them both together. That way, you guys for sure get a longer video out of that one.
Yeah, that one will be a longer part, and I don't think we'll do for any channel. We'll do a video where it's the full channel overview as its own video. We'll probably do that just as a conclusion of all 5 case files at the end of Case File 5 for each channel.
All right. I tried to give you guys something special, but the other case operator here said no. So yeah, fuck you guys, I guess.
Well, no, it's not a fuck you guys. It's just, yeah, I think the conclusion for all 5 videos fits best at the end of the 5th. This is something we should discuss off air, but I guess you guys.
No. You get the full insight on what we're doing. We have no plan.
We have some plan, but there's some nitty gritty stuff we haven't worked out. You know, this is more about looking at different content on YouTube and actually watching it and discussing it and talking about it and listening to what people are saying, which is, you'd be surprised how often that makes videos fall apart. But
all right, guys. So the thing I want you guys to do is I want you guys to ripcord your way to that subscribe button.
I cringe every time you do it.
Pochito would hit the subscribe button. Yes, he would. Don't let him down.
Don't let him guilt trip you into it. Don't let him manipulate you. Okay.
That's all I want you guys to do. Normally I call for the like, comment, and the subscribe, but you know what? I feel generous today. I'm only going to call for the subscribe.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to ask you to do anything because I think I've learned from this video. I'm not going to be a Makima. You do whatever you want to do. Hey, please don't click off, though, because I will kill myself if you click off, though. So I will.
Come on. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Hit the subscribe button.
Oh, shit. I thought you were talking to me. Squirrel. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for here. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. I think we're getting a lot of insight into the creative process. This is by far the one that stands out the most because he didn't edit it, I think, is the big thing. But
yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys, but like, fuck, the drive home is gonna be so fucking shitty. Motherfucker wants to be so fucking whatever.
And I will say, I think we behaved a lot better. I think the supervisor, if they watched the whole thing, I think they're gonna be satisfied. So,
better be fucking happy.
Oh, hey,
I know we're waiting on the fucking performance reviews to come out.
Easy. Hey man, I did want to tell you, Greg's not here anymore, man. He hasn't showed up today, and
I know he's on PTO, man.
Yeah, did you see how many hours of his PTO he pulled though?
That was like a week, right?
Yeah, I mean, have you ever known him to take a week off?
I mean, you know, Greg.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. See you guys later. Bye-bye.